What if you could actually build a more powerful mind? I mean, really build it. Today, we're going to break down 6 habits backed by real neuroscience that can literally rewire your brain to be smarter. Yeah, you heard that right.
What if the biggest lie you were ever told was about your own brain? I'm serious. Think about it. A core belief, something that shaped our entire education system for generations, might have been just wrong. We were all told a story about our potential, and it turns out that story was probably the very thing holding us back. And that lie? Well, it has a name. The myth of the fixed mind. For the better part of a century, this was just the accepted truth. Teachers bought into it, our schools were literally designed around it, and millions of us, we just quietly accepted it as fact.
And here's the core of that myth. The idea that your intelligence is basically a lottery ticket. You're born, you get a number, your IQ, and that's pretty much your lot in life. You hit a ceiling, and that's it. Game over.
But here's where that whole idea starts to crumble. When you look back at history, you see this incredible pattern. Some of the greatest minds ever, they had, well, pretty unimpressive starts. I mean, Einstein was told he would never amount to anything remarkable. Darwin, just an average student. And Edison, get this, was considered too difficult to teach. So what gives?
This leads to a massive, glaring question that the old model just can't answer. If intelligence is fixed, how did these supposedly average minds grow so incredibly powerful? What was the secret switch they flipped that allowed them to literally change the world?
Well, the answer, it turns out, comes from modern neuroscience. And it doesn't just tweak the old rulebook. It throws it out completely. It's all about a hidden power your brain has, a power called neuroplasticity. Okay, so what is neuroplasticity? Here's the most important thing you need to know. Your brain is not a fixed piece of hardware. It's not a static machine. Think of it more like living adaptive software. It has this incredible ability to constantly rewire itself to forge new connections, not just when you're a kid, but for your entire life.
And here's the mind-blowing part. Your daily habits, the things you think, the things you do, over and over again, they aren't just things. They are physically reshaping the architecture of your mind. It's like a muscle. The neural pathways you use get stronger, and the ones you don't, they weaken. You are, quite literally, the architect of your own intelligence. Okay, so if we're the architects, what are the tools? How do we actually do this? Well, researchers have studied the greats and found some pretty clear patterns. Let's dive into the first set, the habits for deep thinking. This is all about how you generate those big, game-changing ideas. All right, we're going to cover 3 key things here. How to think deep without constant input, what productive struggle is and why you need it, and how to use writing to actually think better. So, habit number 1. In a world where our phones are buzzing every 5 seconds, this might be the hardest one. You have to disconnect. Einstein was famous for his thought experiments, just sitting and imagining things like what it would be like to ride on a beam of light. See, when you stop cramming new information into your head, your brain kicks into this amazing gear called the default mode network. It's basically your brain's creative playground. It starts connecting old dots in brand new ways. Okay, habit number 2 is something scientists call productive struggle. And this goes against everything we're taught today. You know that feeling when you're stuck on a problem and your first impulse is to just Google the answer? Well, you have to fight that urge. That struggle, that moment of frustration, isn't failure. It's your brain hitting the gym. When you wrestle with a problem, your brain is literally building stronger, faster connections. Looking up the answer is like wanting to get strong, but asking someone else to lift the weights for you. It just doesn't work. And habit number 3 is a total game changer. Writing to think, not just to record. See, most of us use writing to jot down ideas we already have. But geniuses like Leonardo da Vinci, he filled thousands of pages to figure out what he didn't know. The act of trying to write something down forces those foggy, half-baked ideas in your head to become clear and structured. It's like a clarifying filter for your mind. All right, so those are habits for creating new ideas. But what about absorbing and actually keeping new knowledge? The next set of habits is all about building an incredible mental library. Let's talk about deep learning. So next up, we'll hit on 3 more big ones: what mental models are and how to build them, why your memory is a skill you need to train, and finally, something most of us ignore, protecting your brain's energy. Habit number 4, building mental models. This is huge. Instead of just memorizing random facts, the smartest people build a kind of latticework of frameworks in their mind, ways of seeing the world. They learn the big ideas from different fields, right? Like cause and effect from physics or incentives from economics. This gives them what you could call transfer intelligence. It's like having a mental toolkit that lets you see a problem in, say, business and solve it with an idea you learned from biology. It's incredibly powerful.
Number 5 is all about training your memory. Now, we tend to think of memory as just, remembering stuff, but it's so much more than that. It's the foundation of intelligence. A powerful memory gives you this massive database to pull from, to see patterns nobody else does. And it's not a gift, it's a skill you can train. Using techniques like active recall, where you force yourself to pull information out of your brain instead of just rereading it, is like doing reps for your memory. Each time you do it, that memory gets stronger. And our 6th and final habit is maybe the most important one in today's world, protecting your cognitive energy. Our whole culture screams hustle harder, work longer, but neuroscience tells a totally different story. Your brain doesn't upgrade when you're grinding it into exhaustion. It upgrades during the recovery. It needs rest to rebuild, just like a muscle after a workout. Darwin, one of the most productive thinkers ever, only worked a few focused hours a day. So remember, sleep, rest, sunlight, movement. These aren't luxuries. They're non-negotiable ingredients for intelligence. So when you put all 6 of these habits together, you start to see a whole new picture, right? It's a fundamental shift in how we see our own minds. You're not just a passenger. You are the architect. You're the one in the driver's seat. Look, the big takeaway here is this. Intelligence isn't some score you're stuck with. It's a living, breathing system, and it's shaped every single day by your life, by your routines, by the things you choose to do. The greatest minds in history didn't just have a high IQ. They built a lifestyle that cultivated their intelligence day in and day out. The truth is, your brain is changing. It's happening right now, as you're listening to this. So the question isn't, can my mind grow? We know it can. The real question, the only one that matters, is what are you going to do about it? What habits are you practicing today that are building the mind you'll have to live with tomorrow?